So welcome to 10. This is a 10-minute podcast, Tech Entrepreneurs Nebraska, brought to you by the Nebraska Tech Collaborative, powered by XRenegades. I'm Shauna Dorsey, and I'm here with my guest,
Tess McKinney.
Thanks for being here.
Yep.
Y'all don't know this, and there's no reason for me to tell you, but this is take 2 of this episode. But I'm glad you're here because I was just telling Tess that, before we started recording, that every time she and I get together, I learned something new. So I'm excited. Again, it's a win for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. Glad you're here. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself and then lead up to like how you got to what you're into today?
Yeah, for sure. So I am from Nebraska, small town Nebraska girl. Got into tech early age, got to kind of, go out in the world and be a trainer and teach IBM software to like factory workers, and then came back and I'm still in Nebraska, but based in Nebraska, and then started working for nonprofits and doing tech for them. And then kind of got into website design to help nonprofits in the state. And then from there, I kind of got into 360 cameras and like doing 360s for nonprofits and schools and kind of helping out education in the state. And so from there, VR kind of became this thing where 360 was involved. And so then we got into VR and got into XR and went viral on LinkedIn and really started, developing different modules within the VR space. And so that kind of brings me to the company that I currently own now. Mm-hmm. That's all about XR and education and helping students learn different things using virtual reality.
That is great. And for those who don't know what XR is,
yeah. So it's extended reality. Mm-hmm. So it's any augmented virtual. So you can use your phone, you can use 2D imagery, 3D imagery, mm-hmm. Or you can be fully immersed in a VR headset.
That's awesome. So is it kind of like, I'm like off track a little, just a tiny bit for a hot second, but like how they say CXO, and that's any sort of like the T in the middle. Actually, nope. This doesn't track. It's not working. But.
It is kind of the same. So extended reality is kind of like the whole package. Right. So it could involve AI parts of it. You know, it's just really more of the realities and everything including augmented and virtual.
Perfect. So. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. And so you're really passionate about this, I know.
Yes.
I will also note that you recently became a full-time entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
So can you talk about your journey to that decision and how it's been going?
Yeah. So, I previously worked for the university, the Med Center, mostly the past 7 years. I've been in education about 20 years. I've kind of been doing my own business for a while, but, just wasn't at the point where, people believed in it and people were really, on the cusp of it. Now I think we're fully driven in it. I think there's a lot of companies out in the world who are doing it. And a lot more of the educational places need help doing it. And there's maybe only like 6 or 7 of us in the United States who are helping education do this. And so, we're kind of that one in 6 people, mm-hmm. who helps people. And so people just don't know how to implement it in their education facility. And so that's kind of what we want to help with.
That's excellent. So your business is it XRenegades?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So XRenegades, what we do, so it's my full business is Firework Media Studio, but XRenegades my trademark. Uh-huh. So XRenegades is more of connecting educational facilities or businesses with companies who can build virtual reality for them, mm-hmm. Or who can help them implement it. So I help with grant writing. I help with finding grants or finding funding for those institutions that maybe don't have funding, or have this great idea, but they have no idea where to start. We help with training. We help with LinkedIn marketing for those smaller companies. Almost everyone in this space is an entrepreneur. So, and they don't always have funding. I understand that. I don't have funding to do marketing unless it's through me. Mm-hmm. So this is a way to help those companies do that.
Yes, that's so great. Okay. So thinking about Nebraska and, pretty vast state, some areas less populated than others, and the challenges that some rural educators but educators in greater Nebraska might face given, lack of access to opportunities like this? What are some things that you have implemented or tried or thought about as far as that goes?
Yeah, for sure. So recently, I actually gave a headset, as simple as giving a headset to a school. And they, because of that, they actually found the funding to implement 15 more headsets. So now a whole class has headsets. I'm talking to a few other schools that we're looking within their community to find funding. So maybe farmers or companies within their own community that need training need employees. And so they need to be able to train those employees or potential employees with high school students. And, a lot of those small and rural places don't have kids who are going to leave. They have kids who are going to stay in that place. And what can those companies do to help them stay there? And at least educate them on their businesses. So we've kind of helped implement those headsets. And then actually in April, I'll go up to Loop City and we'll help the teacher implement those headsets. So I'm like super excited about it. It's like one headset's changed just a whole dynamic of their education, which is fantastic. And I hope to do it in other places.
I love that. And so do you have thoughts too of like, okay, so the students are, they're using like modules within existing modules. Are you getting into the space of like, hey, here's how you can actually build?
Yeah. And I haven't gotten there yet. But there's a lot of like resources in the state, obviously the Tech Collaborative and others, AIM, those kinds of groups that potentially could help with coding. Sure. There are a couple of softwares that I know about, like Zoe's one of them, that's free to kids, and they can learn how to develop in those, at least those modules for their own school, or doing 360 tours even is just a very basic, easy way that kids can get involved. But that's, just a way to help students across the state, let alone educators. So that's something else that we need to do, is really help them understand how those programs work.
Yes.
And give them those opportunities as well.
I agree. I've been thinking too. So you and I were at the code.org day in Lincoln last year, 2023. And I remember we finally got to the point where we were like, what we should do is ask the parents to try the headset on first so that they get a feel for it. And then have the parent teach the kid, because like we were just doing like these quick demos. So I'm like, we can teach a parent how to do this in 30 seconds. So what do you think about parent engagement and, just the importance of that? Yeah, definitely.
Getting those parents out, getting them to actually try something that maybe their kid's interested in, but they just ask for it for Christmas, or whatever. And they think, oh, it's just a toy. But actually getting them into at least a module that maybe explains, how to weld or how to get on farm equipment safely or whatever. It shows the parent that there's an educational basis. It's just like when computers first came out. Yep. I remember my parents were like, oh, well, it's only for gaming. And my parents made us, they would only let us have a computer. They wouldn't let us have a PlayStation or any of those, because they were like, it's not for education. It has to be for education. Otherwise you don't get it. But I can't tell you how many games I played on that computer, right. But then it helped me get into where I am today. Yeah. So it's really just kind of giving them that platform and saying, hey, this is how we can utilize it with your kid, instead of having, only playing games on it or whatever.
That's true. I'm like now brainstorming real time an idea that will probably be like way down the road by the time we publish this. But I think we should figure out how to do a VR night for parents, just to do like, hey, here's high level education about what this is. Let them play around with it a little bit. And TC Mixer.
Yeah. Like a demo day kind of
totally.
Thing. Yeah. And like what's fantastic about some of these companies is they do demo days, and they're just so used to it that they'll just send their product or send their headsets or whatever, send people and just for free. I mean, it's just a fantastic opportunity.
Guys, no, this is happening.
It sounds great.
So what's something you want to leave people with, like how they can help support anything that you want people in Nebraska to know?
Yeah, I think taking an interested invest in computer science in our state is fantastic. I know we're kind of lacking right now in that area, but like it even if you're a farmer or if you're an educator or someone and you don't really know a lot about tech, there are people like resources like us and Nebraska Tech Collaborative who who are out there trying to make this happen. So say you have like investments and you want to invest it in education. This is a great way to do that. You know, there's just ways to help people no matter what. Yep. And, you know, one headset, you just have to think about that. One headset, one $250 donation helped a school get on board. Yeah. And I think it'll keep happening. We are doing some, I do VR setups for a lot of these colleges and universities, and I'm hoping to hire teachers, you know, this summer to set these headsets up. And so after so many headsets, then that's how we donate. We donate a headset to a school. Yeah. So it's just it starts with one action.
That is so fantastic. Well, thank you for being here again. Yeah, wonderful. It's been great. Love to have you. Thanks for being in the community too and all you do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.